Well, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. We're live, we're live, we're live. Hello to everyone. TikTok, YouTube, we are live. Content live. Here is the link to the live in the notes. So that at the start of every live, I try to give you links. So if you want to share, right, you want other people to know what you're doing with your life. You know, a lot of people have said that they can't get a message to me in my TikTok comments. So here's the link to the live YouTube. Okay. My name is Jared. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is Justice's Waiting Room. Good morning. This is a daily live podcast. 90-minute segments 2 times a day. Not the same show. Not a scripted show. Okay. I'm a real person. I have real world problems. Okay? Just like you. Okay? And we are, of course, waiting for justice. Yes, correct. Okay. What I try to make sure you also have is my social media. Understand, I don't use anything else. Okay? Other than Blue Sky. Okay? Don't look me up on Facebook. I don't even really use that platform anymore. I'm likely alien on Twitter, but I don't use that anymore. Okay? I'm a lurker. Okay? What up, V? Here's my name. There's my Blue Sky. Okay? So if you ever wonder, like, did you really say that? Right? We are hashtag live on hashtag YouTube. I am going to make a message. Okay, that should piss me off. And then what I'll do is go here, share, copy, paste, and I got enough to paste the TikTok live too. Sweet. Share, copy link here. Okay. "24 characters left." I think that's great. Okay. So, if you ever wondered, yeah, somebody said Neptune would be better when sold out. Yeah. If you ever wondered, like, does this dude ever post on social media? Normally, I'm just gonna post that I'm live. Okay. So if you want, you can help me here. Okay. There's a link from Blue Sky that if you have Blue Sky, you can share. That lets people know where you are, right? And so there are already 76 people in our live, okay, on TikTok, and there's 8 people in my YouTube. So that means there's almost 90 people in my basically quiet waiting room. So if you've ever been in a waiting room and you ever sit in here and wonder why it's awful quiet, because it's a waiting room. That's right. So the difference is that I'm gonna talk. Okay. We got to talk about the news. We got to talk about things that we can see with our eyes, hear with our ears. Um, there's got to be some acknowledgement that you can't always believe what you hear, can't always believe what you see, can't always believe what you read. And so it takes a level of discernment. I think that's a good word for the day. Who wants to learn a new word today? Oh, and by the way, I used to be on another person's live, and I was trying to teach someone who had been. I got to tell this story first. Let me tell you a story. I'm not going to name names, okay? I'm just going to give you the word of the day, okay? Discernment, okay? The ability to judge well, okay? Um, don't take that as an insult. You got to understand, George Carlin said that half of all people are stupid and the other half are even stupider. Rest in peace, George Carlin, right? Um, so when I'm giving you a new word, hey Lava, when I'm giving you a new word, I'm just trying to help, man. I'm willing to bet 99% of my audience didn't know what discernment meant off the top of their head. And now you do. Now you do. It means to be able to judge well. Okay? So I was on a big live. There was like hundreds of people, okay? Um and Miss Tina comes in my chat, okay? So she can back me up on this. I was in a live, and basically everybody was expressing their concerns over the election. And this is, hey Tina, she's right here. I'm telling our story, okay? About why making assumptions is bad juju. When you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and me. You understand? Don't assume. It's gonna get you in a lot of trouble. It's gonna affect relationships. And with me, I have a hair trigger. You understand? I'm like that. I make instant judgments of people, and you will never see or hear from me again. And that is just the way the real world works. Some of us do not have time. I do not have time. And so I was on a live, someone else's live. I got invited, and I got invited like every day. And it's a good feeling when somebody respects what you have to say enough to invite you onto their live, right? Especially, and this is before I started going live every day. Okay? So now I go live every day. Now I draw 600 fucking people in my live, which is absolutely insane. I love y'all. Y'all are fucking too much. Y'all are too much. Okay, I was on a live with a bunch of fucking people, and I have to inform my audience. If I don't inform my audience, I'm not doing what I'm setting out to do. I'm literally going to school to be a teacher. If you haven't figured out by now, I'm like a good fucking teacher. Like, he's a good fucking teacher. He actually gonna learn you some shit, okay? Well, I got on this live and I let everybody else spill all their woes. You know what I mean? All their conspiracy theories, all their hesitations and anxieties and fears, I let them all go first. And a woman spoke first, and it was the sweetest shit. Like, I grew up in a church, and like, I grew up all over the fucking church. Like, I've gone to church at Catholic church. I was raised Methodist. My mama is Southern fucking Baptist. And if you ever wondered why this country is so goddamn backwards, that's it. Southern Baptist. I'm telling you, it's the way they preach. It's fucking insane. Insane. The way they like so angrily speak on our, I would say like our gods, because I'm not religious anymore. So now I have kind of like a caricature attitude about it, where it's like our gods, these are our gods, they're ours, our gods in our house. You know what I mean? Like Muslim, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, like everybody's just looking for a deity. Like I get it, and everybody thinks like their specific choice of deity is the like correct one. But I just wanted to let you know how arrogant that is. And people call me arrogant for saying I talk to all your gods, all of them, and the only one that works for me is fucking karma. So we could talk about Jesus, we could talk about God himself, herself. I'm sorry, because God is clearly a woman. And then I'm also kidding, because God is the original deceiver, the original great deceiver. He lied to Adam and Eve and told them, if you eat the fruit from the forbidden garden, right? You eat the forbidden fruit, you shall surely die. And it was the snake that said, like, nah, fam, like you eat that shit and you get free will. What the fuck? And so what happened? They ate the fucking fruit. So who lied to who? And did God ever ask Adam and Eve to forgive them for lying to them? No, he did not. Okay? I miss you too, Tina. But we're going to talk about consequences to actions. Okay? So what happened was this poor woman is like 27 years old. She's a fucking baby. She's like 15 younger than me, son. She just left the Mormon church. And she is super fucking ignorant. So she voted in this election. She voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. She voted blue down ballot, but she doesn't understand politics at all. And one of the problems that she had with politics is that it doesn't conform to her worldview. Okay? She was thinking of politics the way religion had affected her life. So you understand, it's like trying to fit a square peg through a round hole, because we have in the United States, we have what's called the separation of church and state. Okay? So if you believe, and let me make sure this is correct. I want to make sure I'm right before I talk. Yeah. All right. And I know you're all going to be like, "Damn." Okay? But if you believe that the church and the state should be separate, we are separatists. Okay? So I'm literally going to read this. Okay? I asked Google AI. I didn't ask. It was a sentence. The separatists wanted separation of church and state. And the answer from AI was yes. The separatists, in historical context, particularly referring to English protests during the 16th and 17th century, strongly advocated for a separation of church and state, as they wanted to break away completely from the established Church of England and form their own independent congregations free from government control over religious matters. Okay? So understand, in the 16th, 17th century, for the record, fucking people had a protest to get separation church and state. So understand that it's literally spitting on the graves of your ancestors to want to push the church and state together. We literally had mass protests for hundreds of years to get separation of fucking church and state, so that everyone understands. If you didn't instantly leave the live as soon as I said that, we're on the same team. We're all separatists. Separatists. You got me? Well, I don't know about you, but I am always trying to find the antagonist. So who's the fucking bad guy? If I'm a separatist, what's the opposite, right? And so what I was going to tell the little girl was, hey, love, try not being a disestablishmentarianist first. Try that shit on first, okay? Try not to be a disestablishmentarianist. And what is a disestablishmentarianist? There are people that don't even fucking know what that is. in my chat right now, 70 fucking people in my chat, I want you to tell me that you know what a disestablishmentarianist is. And I guarantee you that the majority of people, if you just polled 100 fucking people, they would not know what a fucking disestablishmentarianist is, nor would they be able to use it in a sentence or fucking describe the context in which it should be used. Okay? But when you're having a conversation with somebody that used to be a Mormon and they're just now getting into politics and they're having trouble finding God in politics, it makes sense. It makes sense to say, I got to make sure everybody knows what a disestablishmentarianist is. This is somebody that wanted the church and state to be combined. Okay? Okay? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what people are saying. I don't know in my chat for. I hate when people do that. Okay? So, good morning. Now that we're off that little tip, right? Anyway, so what happened was while I was trying to tell this little girl who's confused about politics, right? Like I was trying to tell her like don't be a disestablishmentarianist, we're separatists. That was what I was going to tell her, right? So she knows like world history on the same context that I do, and it opened her eyes, right? And she's like, "Oh shit, Jared, I didn't learn about that in the education system. I didn't fucking know." She's Mormon, honey. Like school sucks when they don't teach history, right? So, I tell this. I'm getting ready to tell this little girl about disestablishmentarianism, and I get interrupted. I got interrupted. And somebody's like, no. What we're not going to do is we're not going to assume the audience is stupid. And in my head, because I'm an analytic, I'm a person that I'm listening. I'm trying to figure things out. When somebody says, you're not gonna sit here and assume that everyone's stupid, in my brain, I was like, that's an awful funny way to say I don't know what that means. So just so everyone understands, even the people that was in that room, when that person interrupted me and told me you're not going to disrespect this audience and assume that they're stupid, immediately my brain was like, oh, so you don't know what I'm talking about right now. That was an odd way to say that. And then she said something along the lines of, you're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes. Like she was trying to act like I was, spitting a conspiracy theory or saying things that aren't true, right? And in my mind, immediately it was like, I can't be in the same room as someone that can't say I don't know. Can you explain that? Can't admit when they're lost, right? Okay? And based on that person's reaction, I left that live and I haven't been back. Okay? Because when you assume that I was trying to be disrespectful to an audience that I just got introduced to, and that person and I also don't know each other, you're making a hell of an assumption about me, about what I'm saying, about the audience, right? And if you're willing to make all those assumptions on a trigger finger like that, you don't got it like that. Nobody has it like that. I don't have it like that. I'm honestly going to have to listen to somebody for a few minutes before I determine that they're being disrespectful to their fucking audience. Okay? You never assume that your audience knows or don't know. You just fucking tell them. I showed you the definition of discernment today. The ability to judge well. Okay? So, that's how I ended up here. Okay? I was going to be Tina's fucking co-host and we were going to fucking work together. Until that moment, and I realized in that moment I don't belong in this room, and I said, Tina, I'll just let y'all have your room back, and I haven't been back, and I made my own, and so that's why we're here yet. Okay, so everybody wondering what I got invited to go live because of my content. okay, with Miss Tina, who's sitting in there in my audience, okay? And then the reason I'm here working on my own is because, yeah, okay? So everybody's wanting to talk about the news, what's going on with the news, okay? So let's start with the news. Joe Biden pardoned 37 of 40 inmates on death row this morning. The 3 that he did not pardon were Dylan Roof, Sarniev. So it was Dylan Roof. That's the one. That's the boy, the white boy with the bowl cut that unalived all those black people at church. And then there was the synagogue killer, right? And then there was the Boston bomber, the Boston Marathon bomber. And those are the 3 people that didn't get pardoned by Joe Biden. So everybody was going to wake up this morning and be like, oh, Joe Biden ain't doing shit today. And it's like, Joe Biden pardoned 37 of 40 people on death row. I think that's good news. I think that's fantastic fucking news. And the 3 people that he did not pardon were white cis males that committed mass murder. So I think that's sending a sign. Right? Right? The 3 people that did not get pardoned. Okay. And everybody's like, wait, did that really happen, Jared? Yeah, that really fucking happened. Here's a link. Okay. Me said, so 1220 has come and gone. It's over. Nothing's going to happen. And you have no idea what you're talking about, and you shouldn't come in my live with that attitude, because that's not what we do here, especially when you don't know what you're talking about. Here, let me give you a little bit of hope, okay? So, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are still in the Washington, D.C. area. They canceled their holiday plans. And see, something that maybe that you don't understand, and if you don't understand, that's a you thing. I'm here to give you the information that'll help you understand. Okay? So the way Executive Order 13848 works is that it says after every election. Every election. Not just the presidential election. All those down ballot elections, all of those elections, every one of these agencies, the FBI, CIA, NSA, D6, CISA, all those orgs, they had to do an analysis of every election. And then all of those reports had to be submitted sometime Friday. Yep. And here's the thing. You know what I found out also? You know what I also found out? From someone that worked for the Reagan administration? That Friday, they also had to certify that election, right? And so, certified. Yep. And then also those reports, I've been telling people, every election got a report done. All of that information had to be combined, right? Combined. And it all had to be given to the president, to the vice president. And if it contains classified information, they can only view that in the White House, in the Oval Office, in the Situation Room, or maybe a SCIF, which is like a secured trailer. Okay? Well, understand, for example, people have said Kamala Harris went back to the White House to cast a tie-breaking vote. And she could have done that shit from home. So, wrong answer. So when people are coming around and they're saying, Jared, the only reason Kamala Harris went back to the White House was to cast a tie-breaking vote at the Senate. Yeah, that was happening at the U.S. Capitol, which was like 2 miles away, and she also didn't go over there. So, for all those people that are saying she went there to be moral support, she's not a fucking cheerleader. The reason that she took a lit motorcade, okay? She took a lit motorcade back to the White House. is because there was a matter of national and international security sitting on the president's desk that the president had to be present in the room to give her permission to view. Do you understand? That's why Joe Biden came back to the White House. Okay, a lot of people have said Joe Biden came back to the White House because there's all this shit going on with NATO. Okay? Okay? All this NATO shit going on. Okay? Well, guess what? They've definitely declared war from not the White House. Yeah. Yep. And so what's far more likely is that, as I've said, all those reports from all those agencies contained matters of national and international security, and again, they're still there. Yep. And see what Tina said? The VP Harris not privy to unless the president's in the Oval Office. For the record, there's literal video of Joe Biden deboarding the helicopter outside the White House and going straight to the Oval Office. So again, there's just people that are just beating their head against the wall like nothing's happening. They've given up. Democracy's over. And it's just like, really? Because if there was nothing to fight for, don't you think Joe and Kamala would have loved to go home for the holidays? Deadass. I'm looking right at you. All you people saying like, okay. 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 Good morning. There's like 160 people in our life. So yeah, people are going to wake up today and say what could possibly come out. Okay, what about this? How about some information about the Matt Gaetz ethics report? Which for the record, if you've been following this story, we're okay. So again, democracy's worth fighting for. The Constitution's pretty rigid. The Bill of Rights are like good. You know what I mean? Like we could always make it better, but like it's definitely not. Definitely not in give up mode. Definitely not, man. Make sure that you like this shit, share this shit, follow me. Follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on YouTube, follow me here on TikTok. My advice to everyone is get 8 hours of sleep, hydrate, drink some water, try to get some exercise, okay? Try to eat right, okay? And understand that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to keep making excuses for why we're not hearing anything. Why isn't anybody getting up in front of us and just telling us what's going on? And I've been telling y'all the whole time, say it with me, it's a matter of national and international security. If one person dies, it's a matter of national security. If it puts people internationally at risk, it's a matter of international security. And I would argue that Elon Musk, specifically, his interference into our election is a worldwide problem. Okay? A worldwide problem. Already seen it. So when people come in here and they're trying to tell me to look at some shit, already seen it. I was up at 4 a.m. Okay? I got here before you. I just didn't go live until 8:30. Okay? I think this is an interesting story that we need to talk about because it's not being talked about much. So here's the third story for you. Okay. How about Texas? Stop Joe from sales of the border wall. No, I'm actually cool with that. I think it's hilarious. They're selling it as a commemorative thing. That's awesome. Yeah, you want a piece of this dumb this dumb project we had. Okay. So I think we got to talk about how there was an elected official, okay, hadn't voted in months, living in a retirement facility. Okay. Bake 'em away, toys. So yeah. Kay Granger, a Republican from Texas, has been living in a retirement facility. Okay. And she's in a memory care unit. Okay. Uh, Obviously, I'm not trying to be ageist or anything. Okay. Yeah. Somebody said a dementia facility. Yeah. You can call it that. You're allowed to do that. So yeah. Okay. Remember what's on the docket today? That's the Matt Gaetz report being released. Okay. I've also said I'm pretty sure Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are both still in the Washington D.C. area and have not left to go home. And obviously, if that changes, we'll talk about that. Okay. Texas has bigger problems. If you want to be scared for the future, look up all the bills on the table. Yeah, I'd seen them all. Her admin should have reported her absence due to her illness or diagnosis. Right, D. Interns were posting her social media as acting as business as usual. Yeah, Julie, that's super troubling. Right? Super troubling when you've got an elected official sitting in a dementia ward, and your staff is acting like nothing's wrong. Right? That's super troubling. Okay? So as I kind of poke around here, okay, I'm gonna keep hitting on stuff I think are huge stories. Okay, I think this is a huge story. Okay, and it's about timing. Remember that sometimes there's a reason. Granger's secret because they're sneaky liars. Yeah, where's her salary going? Right. Here's an ethics violation found that Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito are just scumbags. Okay. Let's look at ODNI. No. Reports and publications. Okay. So for the record, everybody wants to know, hey, where are you going to see whether that report's come out yet? So there's your Director of National Intelligence website. Okay. And this is where I expect I see. Here's the thing: if there's a matter of national and international security, and there's high levels of crime found, and it's going to have an impact on the outcome of this election, I think that I think it's plausible to say, like, hey, maybe Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are still in Washington D.C. because they got to speak on this. Yeah, and that's what they spent all weekend instead of being a holiday. Okay, so, oh yeah, I want to talk about this nightmare I'm currently going through. Many of you saw me when I first went live this morning. I had my hood up and all that shit. I got no heat in my house, and I'm guessing it's under 40 degrees. Let's see, weather.com. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, check this shit out. So keep in mind, less than decade old furnace. Not like it's an old unit. In fact, it was less than 2 years old when I bought my house 7 years ago. Okay. And first of all, LCS Heating and Cooling is the company that installed that shit. Okay. And for the record, I had a no air conditioning within 90 days of purchase back in 2017. I called them and they came out and understand this, how fucked up this has been this whole time. And I haven't said anything, haven't had any issues, so this is all my fault. Okay. Uh, they send someone out because I had no air conditioning. This was in like October 2017. Okay. They come out, the guy looks at it and he's like, something isn't right. Something's not right about this. And he calls his supervisor, and his supervisor comes out. Supervisor comes out, calls an engineer pulls up in a pickup truck. Okay. Gets out, goes up, looks at my furnace, and he says, well, here's your problem right here. This is a closed coil furnace. Okay? So, he tells the manager and the tech, I got it. Like, I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. And so he takes metal and encloses my coil. Okay? Encases my coil, encloses my coil, surrounds it with sheet metal, fires it up, and it works just fine. I've never had a fucking issue. So keep in mind, LCS Heating and Cooling installed my furnace and air and installed a closed coil unit open, and I had to have the manufacturer come out and close it for me. And he was like pissed. How the fuck are these people like installing this shit and they're not even yeah? So I've had no issues after that. It was a brand new unit, right? In fact, apparently it hadn't been used because it hadn't been serviced. So we get it. We've been here 7 years, okay? In the last few days, I want to say it was on Friday, okay? I went to take the trash out, and on the way back in, because you all know I have ADHD, right? On the way back in, I see I have one air filter left before I need to buy new air filters next month. And I'm like, oh, hey, while I have one air filter left, I'm going to go ahead and change it out. It's the middle of winter. This is when you really need a nice fresh filter in your furnace, right? And so I changed the air filter out and I went in the house. So for the record, I dropped the old air filter on the ground because I'm lazy. And I went in the house to like do something else. And I remembered, oh yeah, I just threw the furnace filter on the ground. I'm going to go back and pick it up. So I go back out in the garage and I go to pick it up. And I'm like, where's the baggie that all these little filters come in? This cheap plastic that they wrap your furnace filter in. And then it hit me that when I was changing out the filter, I had the bag in my offhand. And when I pulled the filter out, it got a big suction of air. And when I slid the filter in, it pulled the bag and the bag went up. So I thought the bag went above my filter. And for the record, my furnace worked for several days after that. So I thought I was right, and that eventually I would just hear like a bag rustling around in my walls, right? And that eventually it would hit a register, and you would just like pull it out of the register, you'd be fine, right? So, long story short, last night we get up to go to bed, and keep in mind we keep it at 68 degrees in here most of the time. But in the winter, my wife, will turn the heat up a little bit. So she had turned it up to like 69. Nice, right? And so when we get up to go to bed, I'm walking down the hallway and I catch a cold breeze. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I spin around and it's 66 degrees. And I know everybody's like, oh, 66 degrees is fucking freezing, right? Like, hold on. I and my wife, we sleep in a bed with our animals. So it can be fucking cold. At night, I got warm ass dogs and my wife to cuddle up with. I'm sweating, okay? So I turn the heat up to like 72, thinking like it's just cold outside or some shit. And we had just talked about the weather. It's supposed to be in the 50s the next couple of days. So I'm lucky that I'm going to go through a no heat, and it's not actually going to be freezing ass cold all day, every day for the next several days. Okay. So, uh, like I couldn't script this shit, y'all. So understand my wife is the one working right now. I'm a disabled veteran, okay? And I was supposed to start a job in October for farmers, and my boss backed out of the contract, and then she was going to be a goosehead agent, and has ghosted me for the last couple weeks after offering me 2 jobs, and now it looks like probably going to come up with none of those, okay? So understand my wife's the only one working. We got to wait until Friday, right? I don't have much money. I'm not on here for money. There's 150 people in here, but it's not like I'm making a bunch of money. Okay? So I called the company that did the install, LCS. Okay? The company that I told you when they installed this unit, they didn't enclose it. It was a closed coil furnace. And it didn't work when I bought the house, and they came out here and tried to not do the repair and try to be like the warranty doesn't transfer and type shit on me. And I was just like, that ain't gonna fucking fly. Get your boss. And when that guy came out and was like, I don't know what's wrong. I'll call the manufacturer and have them send a tech. And the manufacturer sent somebody that does professional installs of that specific type of furnace only. Said y'all did the install wrong, and he fixed it, and I didn't have to pay for that. Okay, so for the record, I called them today, and I was like, hey, you installed the unit, but given my experience, I didn't look to you for service. But y'all are right around the corner. I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong. I've got a little plastic bag caught in my in a little fan that I just need you to pull it out and clean it, and I'll pay you, Friday, whatever. So I call LCS, and they can't get out today, and it's $109 for a service call. So it's going to cost me minimum $110. So if you would hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this shit, okay? It's going to cost minimum like $100 I don't have, okay? And I'm like, you can't get anybody out today. Least it's going to cost me is $110. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to hang up, and I didn't take an appointment. I'm going to call a company I used to work for. So now we're going to talk about Williams Comfort Air, okay? In Indianapolis, Indiana. I think he's probably they're probably the largest heating and air company in the city. I even have a tech that lives in my neighborhood, so they make good money too. Yeah. Understand that I was in the Marine Corps infantry during a time of war, so if you think this shakes me, you do not know me. If you think this shakes me at all, I think a lot of people will be fucking bawling their motherfucking eyes out. If you call the company that installed the shit, they can't get out same day. And I called a company I used to work for. Okay? And I said, hey, I used to work for y'all. My wife gets paid on Friday. I don't need a major repair. I just need a cleaning and a service, a service cleaning, and I need them to pull this fucking bag out of my fan, and I just I really don't have the tools to do the job. Okay, so I could probably do this shit myself. I just don't really have the tools for it, nor the experience. Right? It's probably better to have a pro take a look. And first of all, I told the woman, and I'm just being candid. I'm just telling you exactly what happened and not lying. I'm not tattling on anyone. I'm just like, I don't even know her name. Didn't even pay attention. But when I told her that I went to change out the air filter, and when I pulled the old air filter out, I got a big suction in, and it pulled the bag out of my hand, and the bag got sucked up into my furnace. She said, "Oh shit." For the record, the little woman that talks on the phone at Williams Comfort Air is like, "Oh shit," when people tell her crazy stuff, right? Of course, I just laughed with her and was like, "Yeah, you're right, oh shit," right? So I just found that a little odd. And then so I tell her, like, yo, I used to work for Williams Comfort Air back when y'all were babies. I helped when I graduated from college. My first job, I worked for a company called Defenders in the Special Projects Department. And while I worked for Special Projects, our special project was rolling out Williams Comfort Air and Mr. Plummer as partners, and I helped build their customer call center. So I built their call flow. I took calls. I led people that took calls. Ultimately, I got moved over to raw data entry, which, for the record, is like a member of a data analytics team is the person that's the user, right? So I was taking the information off of the technicians and transferring it to a hard document, like a typed out document from a handwritten document. Um, which includes estimates and costs and numbers and stuff like that. And I did that for a while. And ultimately, what I found, okay, so just so I like to tell stories about things that actually happened, because you realize, like, oh, he's been at this for a long time. He's been like this for a while. Okay. So what I found was, while I worked for Williams Comfort Air, Mr. Plummer here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Defenders and Special Projects, is that they also bought Jarbo's out of Louisville, Kentucky, and they bought a company out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Thomas and Galbraith. And so I'm pretty positive it's Thomas and Galbraith. So Williams Comfort Air, Mr. Plummer buys two regional HVAC plumbing companies out of Louisville and Cincinnati, the closest major cities. Okay. And he said, Brittany said, Mrs. Jarbo was my teacher in 7th grade. Laugh out loud. That's funny. Small world, Brittany. So the company acquired Jarbo's and Thomas and Galbraith. And I'm a data analyst. You got to understand, I don't care about your feelings. I care about facts and numbers and what they tell us. Okay? And they bought these two companies, and they had great reputations. If I remember correctly, Jarbo's was the burgundy van, right? And Thomas and Galbraith was gloss white with funeral black paint on the trucks. They stuck out. In Indianapolis, Williams Comfort Air, their colors are royal blue and highlighter green. So their trucks stick out like a sore thumb, okay? So while I was there, they submitted to Special Projects a proposal to paint, or what they were going to do is they were going to sell Jarbo's fleet of vehicles, sell Thomas and Galbraith's fleet of vehicles, and purchase like vehicles, the same ones that Williams Comfort Air got, and then put Williams Comfort Air on Jarbo's vehicles and on Thomas and Galbraith trucks, right? In the meantime. So for the record, it was like they were gonna pay twice to have vehicles painted. They were gonna sell vehicles that they were gonna paint, and they were gonna buy new vehicles they were gonna paint. And so when you look at the cost of that, for the record, it was like $23 million. It was expensive as fuck to like paint your existing fleet, then work to sell your existing fleet, purchase a new fleet, paint a new fleet. Like, it's like expensive as fuck. And I was like, you could just, some of their vehicles aren't even paid off. You acquired that. Why don't we just build a better plan that costs less? Okay? And just let Jarbo's be Jarbo's, Thomas Galbraith be Thomas Galbraith, Williams Comfort Air be Williams Comfort Air, because of their reputations. And this was like a sudden purchase. Like, we should give it time, massage it out, right? Just so y'all know, that's what we're doing right now, is they're massaging out the message without saying anything. They don't have to say anything to us right now about what's going on in politics. And if you're in the know, you know. You know that for the last 45 days, now looking at like 48, 49 days, there's been an investigation into this election. And we are actually in the second group of 45 days. We are waiting on a report to drop. But again, I want to make sure that when I get updated information and it affects how I give you information, A lot of people in the past have pointed out that the ODNI report came out right away. Yes. Yes. I also want to point out the ODNI report came out right away and said there was nothing. So this time, the ODNI report told us that there's something, right? Right? We've kind of figured that this whole time. That's why Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had to rush back to the White House. Okay? And like I said, I think the reason that you haven't heard anything is because they're massaging out their message. Okay? I know that's not what you want to hear. Okay? But I don't think they would be in Washington, D.C. to pardon people. I don't think you need to. I think you could have done that from Delaware. Is that where he's from? Okay. And we shared Ken Paxton now? Okay, no, because that would have been a Reddit link. Sinaloa Tacos. The fuck is this? This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast discussing the news. Maybe we're in the wrong spot there. Sinaloa? I don't. Okay. Biden did the pardons, I guess some sort of message. Okay. So the link I shared from Reddit was Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton saying, just I think it was a few days before the election, that Elon Musk told him, like, I'm responsible for this. And before the election, Elon Musk told Ken Paxton, we are going to win all 7 swing states, or all of the swing states, for the record. Okay. Well, there's growing, for the record, a lot of people are asking why pardon people. There's growing disapproval of the death penalty. Okay. Yeah, they cheated for what? Okay. He said pardon Luigi. No shit, right? You can't pardon somebody that hasn't been convicted of a crime, though. You know what I mean? Like, he's just being held at this point. I did want to point out, we know cyber correction. Yeah, for sure. And then if y'all will remember, this is a shout out to my TikTok fam. You remember how I made that video the other day about calling Donald Trump the vice president? So within 96 hours, within 4 days, Donald Trump posts a video where literally he's explaining how Elon Musk won't be the president. And then in the end, he makes a little joke like, he's also not a citizen, right? Ha ha ha, right? At the end, okay? And I want to let everyone know that's the beginning of the end right there. Okay? If everyone was wondering where did things start to splinter? And I think that there was tension before between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, kind of a who's the boss thing going on. And I've seen for a while people have been saying Donald Trump does whatever Elon tells him to do. Okay? So they've been saying that for a while. Okay? So for it to finally get to him and him come out there and say, yeah, funny because he denied Obama was born here. It's crazy. He tried to turn, he created a birther argument, and he has no problem saying Elon Musk can't be president because he wasn't born here. You said, you meant to say rid, but you said ride, and it just makes me think about how they're dating. So if anybody saw Donald Trump's new look, the slicked back hair, it was like, oh, is he dating somebody? And we'll just share this stuff because it's coming up. You know what I mean? Here's Elon Musk giving you instructions at. Okay. Okay. There's Elon Musk giving instructions before the election on voting. And also, I'm gonna share this link to roll call just so everybody knows. This is how you find out what the president or vice president are doing. Okay, so here's a link to rollcall.com. Okay. And so when I look at the president's public schedule for Monday at 11 a.m., he has in-town pool call time. And at 11 a.m., he will receive a presidential daily briefing. Okay. That's the president. Okay. And then he commuted people's sentences, right? And then what you can also see is Kamala Harris. Okay. So roll call, and you see Kamala Harris, her schedule for today. She'll be in Washington, D.C. She'll receive briefings and conduct internal meetings with staff. These meetings will be closed press. So here's what I'll say. Okay? Because people aren't, in my opinion, people aren't curious enough right now. Why the fuck, 2 days before Christmas, why are Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in Washington, D.C. at the White House? In closed meetings, no press. They gave federal employees tomorrow off. And you expect me to believe they're spending the day together because Joe Biden's commuting the sentences of 37 to 40 people on death row. You think they needed to be in the same room for that to happen today? With your whole heart. That's what you think's going on today? Let me explain. Yep. Me too, Logan. Me too. Here's what I will say. It's an update on time frames because we've been talking about time frames, and I said today something would happen. So this is me saying like it's still very early. Okay. Good morning. Okay, it's still very early. Okay. Miss Cindy said, I believe we'll have a national emergency stop the inauguration. Sure. Here's the facts. Here's what happened. Kamala Harris gave a speech. Biden hasn't been in office 4 years. Dream on Dulu. What? It was like, what? That was so dumb it broke my brain. But yeah, when when the president and vice president have to be in the same room, why do you think that it's Dawn said Dawn like dish soap? And she said, "Who's Dulu?" I said, "Oh, so I saw a meme a while back. It was a pretty Latino girl saying Delulu is the Solulu. Delusion's the solution." Um and it's only bricked from there. So people have like broke it off from there, made it in their own shit. Uh they've been calling us Blue Anon or Delulu Blue or whatever. So people that can't spell are gonna suck at insulting when they half-ass type the insult out. Uh, yeah, Jilly said it may be Delulu, but I hope it's Trululu. And the thing about it being Trululu is that it is Trululu, and it's not Delulu. Delulu is the people that screamed the election was stolen in 2020. That's fucking delusional. Because there was no fucking proof nor evidence. Okay? There was no proof, no evidence. A bunch of investigations occurred. Okay? Cool. Tammy's mom said, I am hopeful and understand the patterns. Perfect. You're on the right path. You don't need me. Okay? But I think it's a little short-sighted to try to think about all of the reasons that have nothing to do with Executive Order 13848 and the fact that all those reports from all those agencies on every election in the United States from November 5th, not just the presidential election. So here's what I'm thinking they're doing. They're cross-referencing all the down ballot elections in each state with the presidential election to determine what is the difference between the people that voted for Donald Trump and didn't vote for anyone else or voted Democrat down ballot. What is the percentage of people that voted for Kamala Harris but not Democrats down ballot? They voted Republican down ballot or they didn't vote at all, right? And you don't get that by doing a recount. And Mika Rosa said, when do you think they'll speak up? So I want to give you an update that updates our time frames, okay? Kamala Harris said, be ready to come back and fight after the holidays. That's what she said. That's what she said. Be ready to come back and fight after the holidays. Okay? Okay. So she did say that, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Okay? There's nothing to say they're going to speak today, but it's also very early in the morning. Yeah, it's like 9:30. You've only been on here for an hour. Okay? Okay? And I think that there was a meeting at the White House. I think they've been there all weekend. I think, remember, Kamala Harris can only view those documents with permission. Yeah, Tammy's mom says. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Marity, she's still there. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are still at the White House. And they gave federal employees tomorrow off. So I'm assuming they're going home this evening. Uh-huh. She said that, but her plans for Christmas travel changed. Right. Right. I don't know if I said that, so I'm going to make sure I say it now. So I called the heating and the Williams Comfort Air company that I used to work for, and I was like, "Hey, I got a no heat. It's probably nothing, just a tune up and pull this bag out of my fan. I get paid on Friday and I'll just pay you." And they were like, "No, we get paid at the time of service." And I was just like, "What?" Like, people frequently like get no heat and are too broke to like fix her shit. And she's like, yeah, I know, we don't do those. We don't do that anymore. And I was like, I used to like work there, help build that company. And she was like, yeah, nothing I could do. And she tried to get me to take an appointment anyway. And I was just like, no, like, don't you have somebody come out here? I don't have the money for the fucking service call. You know what I mean? So. And I think it would be kind of silly to sit around and suggest that they're just hanging out for the holidays. Okay. But this is also a major news item from today. Honda and Nissan are going to merge. So again, remember this is a show about news and politics. Okay. So every now and then we're gonna share news that isn't the end of the democracy as we know it, right? And the only reason why I can think of why they did that is because one, to spend time with families, and two, protecting from crazy MAGA. Yeah, no, that's what I'd said. Is the only reason that I can think of where you'd come back to the White House, spend all weekend, is because I posted a video last night where I had kind of held on to this information and I didn't say it because I had a suspicion that people were stealing content from me. And so I waited and I watched other people's content come out for days and days and days and nobody said it yet. And I had said that, you know how there's this executive order 13848 and it says that 45 days after the election all these agencies have to produce a report, and it gets turned in to the president, the director of the Department of National Intelligence, and all these secretaries and shit. Guess whose name's not on that list? The vice president. So the reason that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris needed to be in the same room is because Kamala Harris does not have purview. Purview. Okay. Learn another word today. Scope of influence is what purview is. Okay. Purview. Okay. Oh shit. Let's do purview. Copy. Okay. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Okay. So we're learning words today. So I'm pretty sure it's purview, and I don't think that if you're not listed that you have the scope of influence, like the ability to see documents that ain't meant for you without them being in the room. So because she's the one running the election, she's the one that's going to certify the election on the 6th, right? And remember, her job is ministerial. Like her actual function on January 6th, it's not like she can abstain or like prevent some shit from happening. But what can happen is that when those electors go to certify their votes, they have to view those same reports too from all those agencies as a result of Executive Order 13848. And if there are inconsistencies or there's fraud, it can absolutely affect outcomes. So that's why they're there. That's why they're not taking phone calls. They're not set up to meet with the press today, because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in the same room working. I think Joe Biden is mostly chilling. Yeah, but think about it. They can't in good conscience submit those numbers to the vice president of the United States to certify this election, knowing that the information's out there and it may impact the result, right? So those reports can exist. The electors just certify their votes and we just go ahead and fuck this investigation. It's like, no, they got to certify their votes That was that time, that December 20th, and then also this report's due, and it's like that's why they stayed in town all weekend. I'm telling you, because why else would you do that? Why would you give people the tomorrow off? To me, it's like they gotta say something today. I think they gotta say so. Okay, I I, I would. Hmm, interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Check this out. Good perspective. It's somebody else's words. Okay. Okay. I'm going to read this to you. Okay. This is from Micro Penis. Micro Penis on Reddit. Okay. So first of all, Mike dash Rowe ROWE dash Penis PAYNUS. Jesus. He said Trump's first Truth Social post after winning the election. Okay. He said, "All right, guys, I took one for the team and checked out Truth Social. I feel like I need to brush my eyeballs now, but I really wanted to see what his first post after the election was. So I'm about to read to you someone else's words about Donald Trump's first post on his social media site, Truth Social, after the election. And again, I expect, like you expect, that he went there and he found Donald Trump jumping up and down and celebrating, right? For days and days and days. And there were parades and there was a float with Donald Trump dragging Kamala Harris while she wears a dog collar and she's got a chain on. Right? Cuz that's what happened before the election. That's right. Donald Trump had a parade in the northeast part of the country, I can't remember, with Donald Trump dragging Kamala Harris like she's a dog on all fours, wearing a chain and a chain and a collar. Okay, so I expect like he expects, I'm guessing, to go on to Truth Social and see Donald Trump celebrating. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting. I'm telling you what I expect him to tell me. Knowing him to be a raging narcissist, never passing up an opportunity to gloat, brag, embellish, or straight up lie to push his accomplishments into the spotlight, I fully expected his first post election truth to be some towering pile of self righteousness. Yep. After all, basically his entire existence was hinging on the outcome of this election. His classified documents case, his 2020 election interference in Georgia case, his January 6th insurrection case, and his Manhattan hush money case, to name a few. All of this would likely disappear if elected. So I scrolled back to election time and found his first post from November 9th. So, for those of you playing along from home, November 9th is 4 days after the election. His first post after the election was 4 days after the election. Just seeing how he was reacting to his latest win, I expected him to be shouting from the rooftops about the outcome, running an unending victory lap while patting himself on the back. He did, after all, just win the favor of the majority of the nation, potentially saving himself from spending the rest of his life in prison while handing himself another opportunity to pillage the country to line his own pockets. So, why is he truthing days after the election was called about Democrats trying to steal 3 GOP House seats in Orange County. Why isn't he talking about his supposed win? Why isn't he rubbing it in Harris's face? Why isn't he flipping off all of those who doubted him? Where is his confidence? Social media is his outlet, a window into his mind where he belches his self-inflated worth to millions. Inflated self-worth to millions. Sorry, dyslexia. Freddie Clark, I'm literally reading someone else's words. You're absolutely not welcome here. Yeah. How about them apples? Okay. But in the days after his election, he's not posting like someone who was just emancipated by winning over the favor of America. Multiple felony charges against him just dissolved. Is he not the least bit relieved? The keys to the White House were just handed to him again. An opportunity to use the office to make millions, potentially billions, just landed in his lap. And here he is, truthing about Democrats. It's been about 7 weeks since the election was called, and he still looks uncharacteristically stressed, distant, and uncertain in interviews and speeches. This is not the behavior of someone who just dodged complete destruction. This is a behavior of someone who feels like they're not out of the woods yet. Maybe he can't celebrate because the wolves are circling. And he knows it. So I just thought that was a great post on Reddit. Micro Penis. Great name. Okay. And then make sure that you watch Active Measures. Okay. Active Measures is a great movie about the investigation into Donald Trump. Okay. So post that link there for you. Okay. Make sure if you haven't watched Active Measures that you do. And I've heard in the last couple days here, even though we've been live, that the Air Force, right? So the U.S. military is concerned about Donald Trump. Okay. Why do I not see posts? You need to refresh. Okay. This was posted in Law and Politics 1 day ago. I think this is relevant. This is something that we haven't talked about. Okay. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Okay. Yeah, it's just one person. I wouldn't worry about it. Unless you see it too, and then I don't know what to do. But yeah, the ethics probe. Where's the actual report? Damning draft. Hold on. I'm trying to find the ethics report itself. So I'm not actually finding the report. So if somebody felt You fell for the news narrative. What news narrative? Like, what news narrative are you? What are you talking about? Somebody said, "Will the judges step down?" Uh, I'm hoping they get charged. From what I understand, and I'm not a lawyer, so let's make sure we understand I'm not a lawyer. Uh, I'm just a person. Okay. Um, I think that they'll be held legally liable. Because from what I understand, there was like federal law broken, unless I'm wrong. Um, it's definitely ethics violations. So again, got to be like a crime for them to do something. Okay, but I don't see them stepping down. No, maybe like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they hear some, maybe they get shamed. He said, "Can a Biden point new?" Well, he does have immunity, so that question's kind of loaded, right? Because you know he's got immunity, and technically he can do what he wants, right? And if you were wondering, Jared, what is the most cut and dry way that I can explain that there was fraud in this election? And I would tell you that it's the data. Okay. I don't think they can be forced out. So that's one of the things that people keep asking me, can you force out a Supreme Court justice? And the answer is no. The Supreme Court justice is one of the only group of people on the planet that it's a lifetime appointment, and there's no enforceable ethics code. So Key said, "Why do you think JD Vance is staying so distanced from Trump?" Because Trump doesn't want him anywhere near him, and Elon Musk don't like him either. And they don't want to expose him too much because they've already got a problem letting the fucking cat out of the bag. And I'd argue that neither Donald Trump nor um, Donald Trump nor Elon Musk. Was I saying? Oh yeah, so like I said, Elon and Donald Trump don't like JD Vance, and the thing about it is Elon should like JD Vance because they're both like tech bros, and I think a lot of what they're trying to do is keep his nose clean. Um, Somebody said bomb threats was the first election interference. Yeah, I've been saying that. Logan Mancini said in our YouTube chat, I think Vance is a turncoat. I've also been saying that this whole time that I think that they're patsy. I think that Donald Trump and JD Vance are both patsy. It's like they're both trying to tell on Vladimir Putin, and that's their play. Um, so yeah, people have asked like, how come you haven't seen JD Vance? Yeah, say they're saving him in the event. Yeah, yeah. Al said, "You think Vance is turning state's evidence?" Exactly. He's a narc. He's exactly the kind of person that would tell on you. You know how I know? You know how I know? Laura said we saw JD the other day. Yes, he did. He walked out of that vote and lied right to your face, didn't he? Walked right up to the face and blamed Democrats for trying to shut down the government when it was the Republicans and Mike Johnson who backed out of a deal they had already made. So it's not necessarily unethical to do that. It happens all the time. There's been government shutdowns for like 100 years in the government. Um, this has been going on forever. For the record, Joe Biden managed to not have a government shutdown during his time in office. And that's just another notch on Joe Biden's bedpost of awesome shit he did while he was in office. Right? So again, people are going to ask like, why did Joe Biden pardon 37 of the 40 people in the United States on death row? Because the death penalty is trash. The death penalty is not it. I don't think they're Laura said Biden and Harris did rush back to DC. Yeah, we've been talking about that, Laura. Yeah. Yep. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are at the White House, okay? And in fact, they're in the same room. They're probably in the Situation Room or the Oval Office because they have to be in the same room in order for Kamala Harris to have access to all those reports that were due on Friday from all those agencies, from the FBI, CIA, NSA, DSIC, CISA, all of them. They all had to give a report on every election. So that's all those down ballot elections nation fucking wide, right? Not just the presidential election. Okay. Chicklet said, "Where's the Matt Gaetz report? It's due to be released today, and there's at least 3 news organizations that have already put out stories telling you what's in it. So the media has already seen it, and they've already said Matt Gaetz paid underage girls to have sex with them, and I'm pretty sure he gave them alcohol too. So it's not just prostituting underage people, okay?" Christina said he's trying to sue. Not surprised. He's trying to keep that. Yeah, he used drugs, purchased underage sex. So imagine prostituting a minor. Pretty awful. Pretty awful. Okay. Donald Trump wants control of Greenland. Understand Greenland is mostly ice. And so understand demanding foreign land is insane work. One of the more unhinged things Donald Trump has fucking said is let's take over fucking Greenland, which we can't inhabit. For those of you that have never left your hometown, Greenland is mostly ice. Iceland is mostly green. If you didn't know that, you're fucking welcome. Okay. Christine the Dawn said, biggest takedown in American history. Look, I played Civilization 6. Okay, I've been playing Civilization my whole life. I try to explain this like as a video gamer, as someone who's just a nerd and just sat around and played. If I made the decisions that Donald Trump keeps fucking talking about making, I would be at war with everyone. No one would do business with me, and my country would fucking fall apart real fast in a fucking hurry. Okay? Chicklet, you're right, so I'm going to approve that, but that's stupid. Okay? Laura said, I've lived in Iceland for 3 years. It's amazing. Take me with you. My wife would love to leave the United States. We're going to have to do something because we're going to be without heat for at least the next few days, which is insane. I never thought that I would be here. But also I have some composure, so I'm also able to go through some shit and be like, life sucks, and then you fucking die. Okay? In case you didn't know that. Shit sucks, then you're gonna die. Keep pipes warm. It's gonna be over 50 degrees the next few days. So it shouldn't get too cold. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. For the record, nobody's really talking about global warming, but you want to talk about global warming? Let's talk about global warming. Let's talk about how a week before Christmas, right? A week before Christmas, it was like 60 degrees outside. Okay. How about Thanksgiving? I was in shorts. I live in Indiana, and while it has snowed and it's been cold, it's supposed to be in the 50s the next few days. I live in Indiana. It's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be wintertime. Did anyone see the new Palantir commercial? I did not. But yeah, you got to understand. You got to have a wild level of confidence to do all the horrible things that these people are doing, and they just act like nothing's going on. Like business as usual, you know, we bankrolled. Oh yeah. Don't do this. Don't do this. Hey, I'm letting you know now. I'm in school. Yeah, Palantir. Yeah, no. Christine the Dawn says when they take down Elon, you think we could take his money? God, I hope so. Okay. I've been saying, do you know how useful Starlink would be if the United States seized Starlink and turned it into world public internet forever? Wouldn't that be something? What if SpaceX was just dissolved into NASA? What if Neuralink? What if that was just given to the US military? Oh, you want to fuck with drones? Here's the AI for your drones. Okay, because here's why. Here's why. Everybody's gonna be like, wait, why don't we want AI non-military? Okay. Logan said, no doubt U.S. military takes Starlink. Don't have a problem with that either. DoD wants it, they can have it. Jeff McDonald told Putin in 2021, we know you're cheating and stop, right? What if all the drones and orbs are NASA dismantling Starlink? Okay, so let's talk about it because people want to talk about it. First of all, if that were the case, if they were dismantling Starlink, you would have satellites being brought down and you would see them. Okay? So even if they're taking them apart, there's going to be some big pieces, right? Like the array itself, and you would just see them. It'd be falling out of the sky, and they'd have to be controlled. Otherwise, that's the thing I've said this whole time. People have been acting like I don't understand why they're walking on eggshells around these motherfuckers. Why don't they just take them down in broad daylight? What's to keep Elon Musk from having a remote control that if he pushes a button, it unleashes a drone army? So y'all act like I'm not allowed to have nightmares too? So what's to keep him from building a robot army or a drone army and walking around with a, you know, and I know it sounds like a video game or comic book villain, but it's like he sits around and fucking plays video games all day. So what do you think he's thinking? Right? Sparkles said, "What if the drones are a test to eventually monitor any civil unrest that comes with the EO news?" Okay, here's what I'll tell you. Okay, everybody wants to know facts. What do I care about? Facts. Guess what you haven't seen on a drone? A weapon of any kind. So guess what that means these drones are doing? Maybe the orbs or the cloaking device for Starlink. No, I'm trying to remember who's the guy. Who's the guy that was in? Is it Hustle and Flow? Who's the guy that was in Hustle and Flow? Terrence Howard. Okay, Terrence Howard owns a company that does like drone entertainment. Elon Musk's brother also owns a drone company that he bought a fleet of drones from someone. Okay? So I just want to make sure that you understand Terrence Howard and Elon Musk's brother are both invested in a drone entertainment company. And understand if you see it in the air, and it's got blinking lights, that's FAA certified aircraft. Okay? And also if it doesn't get shot out of the sky, it's not an alien. Not an alien. Whatever's in it has a flight plan and permission to be in that airspace. A flight plan means you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them where you're going to go, what you're going to do. Okay? And I'd also tell you that they are a distraction. Okay? They're a distraction. They're not harmful. If they were harmful, you would see them doing harm. Here's why. Especially if they were like AI or whatever. one of the things that we've learned, and I'm studying this shit, so I'm studying it from the here's the facts. You can have all the thoughts and theories you want, but I live in facts. Okay, I got to work with AI in a classroom setting. Okay, where my instructor said for 5 weeks of a 10-week course, we're going to do the same work. Okay, but you're going to use AI the first 5 weeks. Okay. And said distraction from what? Right, that feels an awful lot like you're playing stupid. Key, what do you think they're distracting us from? Do not come in my live and try to join. Oh. Oh, they figured it out in the chat. Didn't even take them that long. Yeah, so the drones are just meant to extract you. Yeah, meant to distract you from the election. It's just to give you something to worry about. Take your mind off what happened on election night, right? Give you something new to spark fear, I guess. But the cold reality is you haven't seen one with a weapon on it, meaning to harm another person or another aircraft. So if they start defending themselves, right? If fighter jets get scrambled and they get into a dogfight and they fire on the fighter jets and take down a fighter jet, right? Yes. Diddy, drones, Luigi, distractions. Although Diddy knows Epstein. And there are 9 state attorneys attached to that Diddy case. And they recently added 2. There were just 7. Now there's 9. And if you think that's not tied to Donald Trump, I don't know what to tell you. Because if Diddy is friends with Epstein, that means Diddy's friends with who? Who's friends with Diddy? Who knows Diddy? Who's also from New York? Who also was prominently more popular back when Diddy was popular? So, people keep asking me about aliens and shit. I posted some about aliens today where, I had this conversation with my wife because she's mad about aliens. She's like, I can't stand you. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't stand me? And she's like, it's so arrogant for you to think that we're alone in the universe. So that's what my wife thinks. Okay? That there are aliens. And I think that we're alone in the universe. And the difference well, I'm about to tell you, okay? The difference between my wife, who says aliens exist, and me, who says aliens don't exist, is that I can at least show my work. So there's a difference between having opinions about things, okay? Diddy's also friends with Obama, so Patoli, Obama hasn't been president in more than 8 fucking years. So I don't understand. Like, Obama's not the fucking president. You understand that, right? Anyway, so like what? What was I talking about? Somebody said dump. Always have to talk about Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy in the United States. So yeah, and you can just go sit by yourself somewhere. But yeah, the difference between myself and my wife is that my wife says, with no proof, aliens are real. I say we're alone in the universe, but I'll give you this. I'll give you this. There's a non-zero number. There is a non-zero number greater than 0%, but less than 1% that aliens exist. And I can show my work. So it's not just me sitting here bullshitting. I'm actually telling you I went to school for this. I'm also a data analyst. I'm probably the smartest math student that you'll ever meet in your life. I got a 99.4 in a finite math class that's like a 400 level math class in college. Okay? A 90. I didn't even have to open a calculator. I didn't cheat. I for some fucking reason. For some fucking reason, me and math, me and numbers, we get along. And I can tell you this, okay? Of all of the known universes, all the galaxies that we are aware of, okay? So think about this. I'm talking about everything around us, not just us, not just our solar system, not just the one we're in, but all of it, okay? Of all the solar systems, there are like 27 habitable zones, okay? And then about half of those habitable zones, the planet, by the time we get there, for half of those 27 habitable zones, the habitability will change. So understand, of the 27 known habitable zones, these are locations within other galaxies that have potential life and the ability to potentially hold life. Okay? There's like 27. And I'm making that number up, but it's less than 30, okay? Of the 27, half of those, 13, 14 of them, by the time we got to them, the habitability will have changed, and now you're 50-50 going to get all the way out there into that galaxy, and it fucking sucks. Okay? I see you, Shane. I see you, buddy. Okay? So understand that there are places within the known universe that they could hold life. They could hold life there. Okay? Half of them, though, by the time we get to them, wouldn't be able to habit life anymore. So they're too unstable. Okay? Too unstable. So this means of all the known universe, there's only like a dozen or so places that you can go in the known universe, expecting that there could be life. You could live on a planet there. And then they figure, and this is where it's going to really piss people off, because right now there's people that are like, Jared, you said there's 27 places. Yeah, in all of the known universe, there's like 27 places that could hold life. Half of those, by the time we could get to them, no longer could hold life. And then they think of the remaining, like, let's say there's like a dozen, okay? A dozen people or a dozen places in the known universe that could hold life. Maybe one. There might be one other planet in the known universe. And do you know how we know this? How we know there might be one other planet in the known universe that could hold life? How do we know? I'm going to play the music. Do 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 do. So nobody knows. Nobody knows why they think there might be one other planet in the known universe that could hold human life. And do you know what it is called? Earth. 2. You see, they believe, and there's actually evidence for what is called a mirror universe. So I know everybody watching me right now is about to lose their mind and be like, wait. You said there's no fucking aliens? There are no aliens. We are fucking alone. But there's math that says there's a mirror universe with you in it, doing all the same shit, making incrementally different decisions and getting incrementally different results. And for the record, that other universe, that mirror universe, habitable, exists in our known galaxy. Nobody wants to talk about it. They're like, nah, man, that's not a good enough explanation. I need humanoid. I need it to be our size. I need it to speak English. I need it to come to Earth. I need first contact. I'm going to need to see alien spacecraft. And I'm just here to tell you that's not ever going to happen. We do not have first contact. I need 4K HD first contact, or we ain't doing it. We're not making contact. We're lying to people. You've been lied to that aliens are real. I did the math for you. I showed you there are less than 30 places in the known universe. That's the entirety of the galaxy that could hold life. Half of those, by the time we get to them, will no longer be able to hold life. And all that speaks to is instability. So keep in mind, we're 50-50 to be fucking wrong by the time we get there. We get there, and then they think only one of the remaining like dozen or so places that by the time we get there, they won't be unstable. They could hold life. Only one of the remaining dozen or so spaces could actually support life. So when you ask me, are there aliens? No. No. But if you poke and prod, I'm going to tell you mathematically, there's math that says, there's science that says, there's a mirror universe, and you're already in that. So, try sleeping. That ought to be fun. Right? Now that you know there aren't aliens, but there might very well be a split universe. 35mm camera, telephoto lens, no camera phones, potato phone, fuzzy out of focus with FAA lights, right? That's exactly what I'm saying every single time. Okay? There are not aliens. You have been lied to. You're being massively misled. It's unfortunate. I feel sorry for you. If you've spent your whole life thinking ET was a how-to, it's arrogant to think that there are humanoid aliens trying to make contact. That's so arrogant that you think you're owed that. You think the universe owes you an alien. You should go watch Enemy Mine and never bring up aliens to me ever again, because you'd probably be racist towards that alien too. Okay? Sorry for the little rant. Stop asking me about fucking aliens. You got this big, beautiful brain sitting in front of you willing to talk to you about fucking anything, and you want to talk about shit that doesn't fucking exist, man. Damn it. How come nobody's... Thank you, Cece, for the compliment. I appreciate your kind words, dear. But how come nobody's saying, whoa, 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 back the fuck up. Explain this shit, Jared? Mirror universe? I'm in that shit too? Nobody's like, that's super fucking interesting. No, y'all are let the fuck down because you're arrogant and you think that you are owed a humanoid alien that is going to come to Earth and fucking talk to you. Brat Pack said, had Enemy Mine on VHS. What about Starman? That's what I'm talking about. They were racist to the alien in Enemy Mine. So just so everyone knows. That's why I made that joke, Brat Pack. Is because I've seen Enemy Mine. They were racist to the alien. Okay? It was a fucking awful, heartbreaking movie when you're 9. Okay? He said, yup. Yeah, it was nothing. When Obama was in it, was the best 8 years of my life. One could say you're arrogant for saying that there are no aliens. I didn't say that. I said there's less than a 1% chance that alien exist, and that there's math that says there's a mirror universe, and that your copy of yourself in the mirror universe would be an alien because it's not from Earth. So you're actually ignorant because you didn't completely listen to my response, right? 42, the answer to everything. Exactly. I think that was an episode of Star Trek. Probably was. But remember, I'm not here to lie to you though. If my analytic brain came across information that says with 100% certainty there are aliens and it can prove it, I'm in. I'm in. I believe it. Okay. What was the Netflix dump movie to watch? Curly Girly said, "I agree. We're the aliens for sure." I agree. And that's the other thing that I'm willing to entertain. Okay. So a lot of people think like we can't be friends because we don't feel the same way about stuff. That's not how friendship works. When you're friends with somebody, you like them kind of regardless of what they think, so long as what they're thinking doesn't like fucking hurt you, right? But I've been saying for a long time, you know, I've met some incredible fucking human beings in my life. You know, and I'm pretty accomplished, actually. And I've met people that have done way more than me. Good morning from California, says Jess. What's up, Jess? So I've met people way fucking smarter than me. In fact, I like people that are way smarter than me because they know things I don't know. Then they tell me stuff, and then I tell you stuff, right? That's how that works, right? But I've never, enemy mine. I'm going to put it in the chat, okay? Enemy mine. Enemy mine. You're going to not enjoy that, so you're welcome. But yeah, everybody, I wanted to share this. Everybody's been asking me, how do you prove that there was issues in this election? Okay? So I want you to look, if you will, class. Here's a link I put in the chat. Okay? Oh, know the other one about Trump. What was that movie about Trump called? Starts with the A. What's the... Anyway, so look here. If you want to see, like, cheating in an election. And if you click the link I put in the chat, okay, this Reddit link. No, not the Apprentice movie. No, it's 2 words. It was up here. I just can't. There's too many people in here. I can't just scroll back. It was like 100 people. No. It was about Donald Trump's 37-year investigation into his involvement with Russia. It's 2 words. God damn it. Movie about Trump and Russia. Active Measures is the name of the film. Okay? Active Measures. Okay? No, Active Measures is what it's called. Active Measures. Okay? That's the name of the movie. Okay? But yeah, if you ever wanted to show someone what fraud looks like in it's Active Measures is the name of the fucking film, okay? If you look at this Reddit link that I posted, you'll see 3 graphs, okay? And we're not going to look at the top one because that's the obvious. We're going to look at the bottom 2 graphs. And what I want to show you is what it's supposed to look like before I show you fraud, okay? So you don't care what the information is, you care about what the lines look like. I want you to notice on the lower two graphs, okay, the two intersecting lines, the blue and the red, and understand that they're actually 4 lines, okay? There's a solid red line, a solid blue line, and then there's all those squiggly lines on those lower two, okay? So you see how the lower two graphs have a straight line and a squiggly line, and that's because there's a constant, which is the flat line, and then there's the variance underneath for all the other down ballot races. Okay, so everybody's wondering what they're looking at. You're looking at Donald Trump as the solid line, and all the down ballot races are underneath that. All the precincts that are in this one are underneath that. Okay, and what you see in the lower two is interference. Okay, there's interference because you have a straight line that is being interfered by a parallel line, perpendicular line. You see that? So at every point along those lower two graphs, there's crossover. People overperform, underperform. Yes, that's literally the link. Yeah. I'll put it in our chat. Somebody get Jessica Marlin link to Discord or Reddit. Not Reddit. But anyway, so when you look at these two lower graphs, okay, you can see a hard line and the squiggly lines. And you would look at that data without knowing anything about it and say, that looks normal. Okay? When you go up to that top graph and you see that the bright red line is not interfering with the lower line, and that in fact it's kind of mirroring that, right? This is a problem. Yep. Yep. Okay? See that top? See those lines? How they mirror each other and they don't cross? There's no interference. That's a problem. Okay? Ooh, Washington Spectator. This is probably worth the reading. Okay. Here's a interesting link from Washington Spectator talking about So there's a book called Project Russia that some of us are going to have to read. I keep posting links in there. Marianella, I don't know what to do because I can't send links to the fucking TikTok chat. That's crazy. We've been on here long enough that we can't even send links anymore. I would say look up Likely Alien on YouTube, and you could probably find my live, or Justice's Waiting Room, and you could join the YouTube chat, and at least I could see the messages in the YouTube chat. Okay. Project Russia is like the modern day Mein Kampf. This was distributed in 2005 and 2010. A set of books called Project Russia was distributed to high-ranking officers in Russian government and other influential thought leaders. So make sure that you give that. That's a great link. Okay. Great link. But yeah. I wanted to point this out because people have been asking me when shit's going to pop off. Okay? Here. So yeah. Just want to make sure. What's going on? That I show you Kamala Harris speaking, tells her supporters to come back ready after the holidays. Okay, I had said today. Okay, I still think it's early. You never really know. Okay, Have we been on here for 2 hours? We've been on for 2 hours. We had a great fucking show today. We just blew through 2 hours. Okay? I gotta get out of this chair, I think. How long have we been here? Yeah, two hours. Okay? So hey, I appreciate y'all. Clearly we were rocking and rolling and we blew through 2 hours. We went so far, TikTok stopped sending the links I was posting in the chat to get y'all to read some shit. Okay? So hopefully we'll get that figured out. We'll be back. We'll be back at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay? Write it down. 8:30 a.m. to about 10 a.m. unless we just get caught up. Okay, like we did today, and then 1:30 p.m. to 3. Okay? I got to share this with you now that my furnace is broken. Okay? And that okay. So now that my furnace is broken, here's my Patreon. This is about the only way you can support me. You can also look me up, Likely Alien, on PayPal if you want to send some money my way. Okay. So remember, I have a standing rule: don't come in my lives, not knowing each other. Okay, you're welcome, Lee. I appreciate you, buddy. Okay, don't come in my lives and try to jump on live with me. It's never gonna happen. I don't even ask the people that work for me now that are mods to come onto my live. Not yet, anyway. I don't need that yet, but maybe I will. So hey, have a good rest of your morning here into the early part of the afternoon. I try not to be on and live at noon because that's when shit goes down, right? They'll give you an hour and a half, get into the afternoon a little bit, and then we'll be back for another couple hours. And that's as long as there's no money involved. I've said this the whole time. I've been doing this without the expectation of pay, and I'm going to continue to do this shit without the expectation of pay. Have a morning and afternoon 90-minute show where I'm looking at the news anyway. Might as well be streaming it live, talking to people that are wanting to know what the fuck is going on. Okay? So today, shared a whole bunch of information, a whole bunch of links, talked about a whole bunch of shit. Okay? So that ought to give you a full plate of shit to read, and I'll see you this afternoon. Okay? Very welcome.